Hey guys, welcome back to Margo Watches Movies. My name's Jake Margo. I got Hamilton here with me, and we're going to be talking about the Thunderbolts today. Yes, that's a good boy. This was a film that has gotten some good press, some decent marketing. There's been people calling it the best MCU film in years, and we'll get into what I think about that in just a moment. But I should give a little bit of context. I was, for the longest time, a ride or die Marvel fanboy. I own every film from Phase 1 to the end of Phase 3 through Endgame. I know a lot of the lore. I know all these characters for the most part. And I've just been really turned off by what Marvel's done in the last few years. Most of their Disney Plus shows have been an embarrassment or average or disappointing. There's a large scale there, but none of it teeters on good other than some parts of Loki and a little bit of WandaVision when it first came out. It had a nice feel to it. But, this is in many ways a return to form for Marvel. Is it the best Marvel film in years? I guess by default. It's a low bar. It's a low hurdle to jump over, and they did that. And I think the best aspects of this film was it was a little bit more mature. It was a little bit more adult oriented. This is probably not a film kiddos would be enjoying. If you're looking to take, an 8-year-old and just expect smash, bang, bang, popcorn stuff, I don't think you're going to get that out of this movie. They do tackle some heavy themes in a sense, and I think it ties in well to the central kind of plot of the film, which is this ragtag band of misfits, forced under extraneous circumstances to work together for survival. And what they mined from that, and what Kevin Feige and the directors and writers did a good job of, is realizing that when you have this band of losers, right? There's a lot of insecurity. There's a lot of self-loathing and resentment that comes with a checkered past. As somebody who has made many decisions he's not proud of, I thought, some of the heaviest moments of this film really resonated with me. I have a lot of regrets. I've hurt people I love and lost people I love from my own choices. And as someone that's been making a concerted effort to work on himself and try and really get to the root of my self-flaws, I think there's parts of this movie that really are impactful and really do a good job of driving that home. And Yelena, played by the always fantastic Florence Pugh, is definitely the heart and soul of this film. She has to carry the brunt of the emotional weight on her tiny shoulders. And that's one little thing I think is kind of silly, is I'm never going to be able to take serious when like a 5'1" girl is beating up like 10 Albanian basketball players with AK-47s. It's just hard to take serious. But besides, a couple of those scenes with her, she's fantastic. She carries the film. She's definitely the lead of this movie. And I think she really is a great character and could be a great replacement for the Scarlett Johansson-sized hole that's been left in the MCU. And, moving forward, I am looking forward to seeing her in more of these films. I don't know how they level her up, but she was really great in this film. And all the emotional parts for me came from like her character arc and her journey. So hats off to Florence Pugh for a fantastic performance. David Harbour, the always wonderful David Harbour, is in some ways the comic relief of this movie. I don't know if that was something that was intended or if it's just how good he is and infectious with his joy and his charm in his line readings, but he had the majority of the laughs for me in this film. And I won't say that this is like your typical MCU trying to be a comedy. It's not. And I think one of the downsides to most of the recent MCU entries, excuse me, Hamilton, he's itching, sorry. But I think a lot of the biggest downside to a lot of these most recent MCU entries is anytime you have a serious moment. I mean, like the absolutely atrocious Thor Love and Thunder comes to mind, where anytime there's a chance for a serious moment, there's some type of crappy joke that totally deflates the emotions of the moment. And this movie smartly and thankfully stays away from that. They let the heavy hitting, the emotional moments breathe. They give that resonance, and they don't undercut it with cheap jokes. And as far as like Marvel tonal whiplash goes, I think this movie, for the most part, there's a couple times where there's a couple jokes being made during like tense moments, and it's kind of like, come on, was that really necessary? But as far as Marvel tonal whiplash goes, it's the least of new Marvel, so I like that aspect. There's a gentleman who wasn't featured much in the promotionals, named Bob, who I thought was a really good addition. The villain in this film is pretty good, in some ways memorable, not at all like a completely forgettable MCU villain that we've kind of grown accustomed to for a lot of these films. But I think the big selling points of this movie, the chemistry between the team is good. Wyatt Russell as kind of the smug asshole. You have the always reliable Sebastian Stan playing Bucky, who I do think is a little underutilized, which was a shame to me, because he's just been such a staple and such a guaranteed ace to play in for so long throughout the MCU. I would have liked to have seen him have a little bit more focus, but Ghost was underutilized in my opinion. She has a really cool set of powers. She's like the phase in and out of reality girl from Ant-Man and the Wasp. They kind of nerfed her in a sense, I thought, but all in all, it is in some ways a return to form to Marvel. It's also, I don't know if I'm just so burned out on it, it just doesn't hit the same these days as it used to. But they had such a great 10-year run that no matter where Marvel goes, no matter how bad it's gotten, I'll always be grateful for that 10 years of just dynamite movies. And maybe it's just I'm aging out of it, I don't know. But it just doesn't hit the same. But this was a nice return to form. I enjoyed it. There's a couple parts that, again, just really resonated with me on a personal level as I was sitting in this theater by myself. And there's themes of isolation and self-resentment that really rang a bell with me and left its mark. So they did well there. Now, my big glaring negative of this film is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and her assistant, who just kind of disappears, was okay, but she disappears out of the movie at a certain point, never to be seen again. Same with this whole subplot in the first act that just never comes back. But Julia Louis-Dreyfus is really bad in this film. Razzie bad, I think. And that might be a hot take, I don't know, but I could not stand her. And the first act really takes a while to get under its feet, and that's mostly part to them having to cut back to her so often. And anytime it cut back, I was just like, oh God, here we go again. She was like in a completely different movie. Acting, I don't know. She, as like this kind of blend between Nick Fury and General Ross, the Hulk guy, who's in like Civil War and stuff, played by the late great William Hurt. No, I just wasn't buying her. She's terrible, and if she's gonna be like the new Nick Fury, God help us all, because she has none of the blanking on a word. She has none of the conviction. She has none of the gravitas, there we go, of Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury, and I couldn't imagine her leading anybody. She's duplicitous and just really overall a terrible person, and her performance was just as terrible from a usually incredibly reliable, Emmy-winning from Seinfeld and Veep. Julia Louis-Dreyfus just really dropped the ball there. She was horrible. I can't state that enough, how bad she was and how much I hated seeing her go back to her on screen. Oh God, here we go again. So she sucked most of the air out of the first act. Besides that, this was an enjoyable film. Not one I would say bring your young kids to. There's two post-credit scenes, one in the mid-credits that's a small little bit of comedy, and probably, you know, if you're into the lore, you're excited about seeing, you're going to want to stay till the very, very end credit. It's after all the credits are done, there's quite a long post-credit scene that seems to set up quite a bit. So hats off to the team behind this. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. No, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Julia Louis-Dreyfus drops it like 2 points by herself. And there's a couple underdeveloped side plots and plot points to me that hold us back from being a truly great MCU film, but it was really good, and it was in a lot of ways a return to form. So this is Margo Watches Movies. Appreciate you putting up with old Hamilton off here to the side, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.